Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow's extreme beliefs about the end of the world, as described by their friends, are now clearly part of the investigation into the deaths of Lori's children, JJ and Tylee, Lori's ex-husband, Charles, Chad's wife, Tammy, and Lori's brother, Alex Cox.
We're gathering together as saints, as brothers and sisters, and preparing for the second coming of Christ. We want to be there together, and we want to be there strong together.
That's Lori Vallow on a podcast in November of 2018 discussing the end of times. A few months later, this is what Lori's now dead husband Charles told police in Arizona about how Lori's religious beliefs had become disturbingly extreme.
Her religious stuff has gone way off the deep end. She threatened me physically. She made threats at the kitchen. Doesn't care what happens to her. Come get him. I don't care. We won't hear that much longer anyway. And I've got my God powers. I can kill you if I want, anytime I want. It's just irrational stuff.
Yeah.
She needs some serious help. I want her to get help. I'm worried about her.
Both Lori and Chad told friends and family that they are part of the 144,000, which is a biblical reference from the book of Revelation.
The book of Revelation has a chapter in which it talks about how when Jesus comes back to the earth, or in anticipation of that, then there will be 12,000 elders or members from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. And so when you do 12 times 12,000, that's how you get to 144,000.
According to friends, Chad believes that he and Lori are not only part of the 144,000, but that it's up to them to lead the other chosen ones after the second coming of Christ, which, according to Chad, is going to happen very soon on July 22nd.
I've recently released my autobiography entitled Living on the Edge of Heaven, where I tell more about my 2 near-death experiences.
That's Chad Daybell talking about his books on a website called Preparing a People. The video has been removed. In his books, Daybell claims that near-death experiences, the first when he was a teenager diving off a cliff, gives him the unique ability for visions, a sixth sense of events that will happen or are about to happen. According to his friends, Chad had visions that his wife Tammy was going to die, that Charles Vallow's body had been taken over by a zombie, and that Lori's children, 7-year-old JJ and 16-year-old Tylee, were also zombies. Chad, according to friends, also believes that he's had many previous lives and has even been married to Lori in past lives on different planets. Chad told his friend Julie Rowe he was James the Less, or James the Just, one of the 12 apostles.
He started telling me about how he had an attack. He was in his living room in Rexburg, Idaho. The way he described it was that his veil was more open than it had been, and he started remembering some of his past lives.
How and why Chad and Lori's religious views became so extreme is unclear. Friends of both say something changed.
Chad's been a very prolific author, so in the past, I would say a lot of his publications are very much in the mainstream, but it does seem that recently, their trajectory seems to be taking them away from the kind of center where most people in the faith would have.
Now, both Chad and Lori are sitting in Idaho jail cells waiting for trial, or, if they still believe it, the end of the world.
You know, a part of the foundation of this country is freedom of religion. You can believe whatever you want to believe. And I'm not going to criticize people for what they believe. Until you cross a line and 2 children go missing and spouses die and you're down in Hawaii with your new bride and a bag of money, then you've crossed the line, all right? All of a sudden, we're in a different place here, okay? We're in a totally different place, and that's where we are in this case. Let's bring in Ted Rowlands, Court TV anchor. Ted, you know, I don't like going after people for what they believe in their religions. I mean, that's part of the foundation of this country. But here, it seems a lot of these beliefs, or alleged beliefs, because I'm not buying it 100%. I think it was a way for him to get chicks, right? That's part of my theory of this case. But it is so intertwined into what happened to Charles Vallow, what happened to Tammy Daybell, and what happened to those 2 innocent children.
Yeah, and likely to Alex Cox as well. The bottom line here, Vinny, is that this is about religion for these two. This is about these two individuals meeting at some point and whipping themselves into such a frenzy that they went from off the grid to over the edge. And it's disgusting where they took this. The big question here is, after July 22nd, let's say July 23rd, they both wake up alive, because right now they're not going to do anything until the 22nd. They've come this far. They might as well wait to see if indeed the end of the world happens. But what happens July 23rd? Is that the day that Lori turns on Chad, or Chad turns on Lori and says, yeah, this kind of got out of hand because he or she took it this next level? And that, I think, is going to maybe blow this case wide open, because right now there are no murder charges. If one of them flips, that could change very quickly. And that's where this religion is important in the investigation. It is the bottom line here, the motivation for them to have done these deeds, if indeed they are guilty of taking the lives of all of these people.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, I mean, you've done an incredible job doing it in putting that timeline together. And it seems as these beliefs started to get into this almost like frenzy, that's when people start dying left and right, and strange things start happening. And the reason that I'm questioning whether or not it's legit, like, why were they down in Hawaii with a bag of money hanging out on the beach, like without a worry in the world? If you're preparing to lead the 144,000, why are you honeymooning down in Hawaii while the rest of the world's looking for your kids? That's the part that I can't put two and two together, because somehow it's based on some interpretation of LDS or Christianity, or I don't know what it is, but at the end of the day, to be that selfish, to me, was very telling about perhaps what is really going on here.
Yeah, well, when you're making your own religion up, you can make your own rules, right? So you can say, well, we got to wait till the July 22nd. We've got a couple $100,000. Why don't we go to Hawaii? It's more comfortable. We can recruit the 144,000 there. It's that ridiculous idea that they're doing this for the greater good. That at the end of the day, Jesus Christ is on their side. I mean, it from the outside, it's ridiculous, but I think if you were inside their minds, and probably Lori's mind specifically, she was taking guidance from this guy that she met at a conference and fell head over heels for. I mean, keep in mind, he's the one that said, your children are zombies, we're gonna have to get rid of them. Your husband is a zombie, my wife is going to die. He's the one predicting, he's the one telling her who's a zombie and who isn't. I think he's the one that was leading this from the beginning. And on July 23rd, if I were Chad Daybell, I'd be pretty worried that his lovely wife might turn on him.
Yeah, huge day, huge day. Ted, stick around. I know we got more to talk about during the program.